Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 31st of October. Foreign ministers of India, Singapore hold a joint ministerial meeting in New Delhi. Afghan CEO says foreign troops will stay unless security improves in the country. And royal family of Bhutan arrives on a 4-day visit to India. And now for all the details, Singapore's Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan arrived on a 2-day visit to India on Tuesday. He met his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj in New Delhi, and both the leaders together chaired the 5th joint ministerial talks between the two nations.
Singapore's Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan on Tuesday arrived in New Delhi on a 2-day visit aimed at strengthening bilateral ties with India. He began his bilateral engagements by meeting his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj. The duo also chaired 5th Joint Ministerial Committee meeting between the two nations. Balakrishnan is scheduled to hold talks with Indian leadership during his visit. He will also visit India's northeastern Guwahati city on Wednesday and witness the signing of agreements to kickstart project implementation for the Northeast Skills Centre. New Delhi and Singapore share close ties which has a history rooted in strong commercial, cultural and people-to-people links, with India being one of the first countries to recognize Singapore in 1965.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday flagged off Run for Unity marathon in capital New Delhi. The marathon was organized across the country to commemorate the 142nd birth anniversary of freedom fighter Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, also known as the architect of modern India.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday flagged off Run for Unity marathon in national capital New Delhi. The marathon was organized to commemorate the 142nd birth anniversary of India's iconic freedom fighter Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, also known as the architect of modern India. Patel, also referred as the Iron Man of India, became the country's first deputy prime minister and interior minister after India got independence in 1947. He was instrumental in the integration of nearly 500 princely states into the Indian Union after independence.
ये सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की दीर्घ दृष्टि थी कि उन्होंने शाम दाम दंड भेद हर प्रकार की नीति, कूटनीति, रणनीति उसका उपयोग करते हुए बहुत ही कम समय में देश को एकता के सूत्र में बांध दिया.
The marathon run was organized across the country and saw participation of hundreds of people. Old and young enthusiastically took part in the run in northern Jammu city to spread the message of unity.
लोग जो हैं यहाँ बच्चे, युवा और इनफैक्ट लेडीज भी यहाँ पर आई हैं, तो आज ये दौड़कर हम एक परिचय देना चाहते हैं कि हमारा पूरा भारतवर्ष एक अटूट रिश्ते में बंधा है.
Similar scenes were seen in Imphal city of northeastern Manipur province. The event saw participation of sportspersons and a huge number of youths from the province as they ran across the city dressed in Indian tricolour t-shirts.
Moving on to news from Pakistan. Pakistan has returned a total of 9 helicopters it received from the United States for monitoring the country's border with Afghanistan. Islamabad reportedly plans to acquire more helicopters in return for anti-narcotics operations.
Pakistan on Monday returned 5 remaining helicopters to the United States, which had been given for monitoring the country's border with Afghanistan. Pakistan is trying to reacquire an unspecified number of helicopters from the US for anti-narcotics and counter-terrorism operations after returning the helicopters, reports suggest. Pakistan had received a total of 12 aircrafts from US, including 3 fixed-wing Cessna airplanes in 2002. 4 of these helicopters had already been returned on October 15th. The aircraft were acquired under a renewable agreement, and after the expiry of that agreement, Pakistan had the option to either return the aircraft or buy them. The Ministry of Interior decided to return them instead of buying them for continued use. The ministry, however, purchased the 3 Cessna airplanes that came with the choppers.
Meanwhile, Baloch activists in Pakistan's Karachi city are observing an indefinite hunger strike against the abduction of a human rights activist by Pakistan's security forces.
Members of Baloch Human Rights Organization or BHRO is observing an indefinite hunger strike against the abduction of human rights activist Nawazata Baloch by Pakistani security forces. The protesters demonstrating outside Karachi Press Club urged all human rights activists to join their cause and raise their voice for the safe recovery of Nawaz Baloch. BHRO's Information Secretary Nawaz Baloch's home was raided by the Pakistani security forces and plain-clothed personnel abducted him from Karachi's Gulistan in Johar area.
22 अक्टूबर 2017 की रात 2 बजे कराची के इलाके गुलिस्तान जोहर में बलूच ह्यूमन राइट्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के इंफॉर्मेशन सेक्रेटरी नवाज़ता बलूच के घर और उनके रिश्तेदारों के घर पे रेंजर्स और सिविल दरिस में मलबूस लोगों ने छापा मार कर नवाज़ता बलूच और कम सन 8 स्टूडेंटों को अगवा करके लापता कर दिए गए हैं। इसी दौरान घर में मौजूद खवातीनों पर भी तशद्दुद करके उनको अगवा करने की कोशिश की।
The protesters have requested the security forces to produce Nawaz in front of the court if he had committed any crime, rather than illegal detainment to an unknown location. Members of BHRO, a known political institution, also pressed that if Nawaz is not released safely, then they will consider all means of protest, including demonstrations in front of Sindh Assembly and Governor House.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghan Chief Executive Abdullah has voiced his concern over an increase in insurgent attacks leading to casualties on several cities. He said that if government does not end the security crisis, it will have to accept the fact that foreign troops will remain in the country indefinitely.
Chief Executive Abdullah on Monday said if government does not end the security crisis in the country, it will have to accept the fact that foreign troops will remain in the country indefinitely. He made the statement at the Council of Ministers meeting. Abdullah voiced his concerns over an increase in insurgent attacks on cities. He pointed out that armed groups had changed tactics and have focused on cities, resulting in increased number of casualties. He demanded that Afghan intelligence agencies do more to prevent further attacks. Meanwhile, CEO Abdullah's office in a statement on Monday said that Kazakhstan's Ministry of Defense and Aerospace Industry has announced it will help Afghanistan in different sectors.
An overcrowded boat carrying Rohingya refugees fleeing ethnic violence in Myanmar capsized off the Bangladesh coast on Tuesday, killing at least 4 people on board. Meanwhile, giving a ray of hope to the refugees in Bangladesh, Myanmar government has estimated that it can repatriate about 300 Rohingyas from Bangladesh per day.
4 Rohingya Muslims, including 2 children, drowned when a boat carrying dozens of refugees fleeing violence in Myanmar capsized off the Bangladesh coast on Tuesday. 37 survivors were reportedly dragged out of the water and over 10 have been admitted to hospital in a critical condition. Rohingyas have been fleeing Myanmar since attacks by Rohingya insurgents on security posts triggered an army military offensive in late August. Meanwhile, the Myanmar government estimated that it can repatriate about 300 Rohingyas from Bangladesh per day. According to local media reports, the Rohingyas who have entered Bangladesh from Myanmar would be examined under some principles of a 1993 agreement between the two countries before repatriation.
Moving on, Bhutan King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuk, accompanied by Queen Jetsun Pema Wangchuk and Prince Jigme Namgyel Wangchuk, arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday. Upon arrival, they were received by Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj. Bhutan's royal family is on a 4-day visit to India aimed to review the entire gamut of bilateral relations between the two countries. The Bhutanese king, during his stay in India, will be meeting Indian President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The visit is a significant one because this is their first since the end of a military standoff between India and China on Bhutan's Doklam Plateau on August 28th. India and Bhutan enjoy unique ties of friendship which are characterized by deep understanding and mutual trust. Devotees in India's northern Uttar Pradesh province thronged banks of river Ganges to mark the auspicious occasion of Prabodhini Ekadashi. The day is mainly dedicated to Hindu god Vishnu and also marks the beginning of the Hindu wedding season in India.
Hundreds of devotees in India's northern Varanasi city thronged the banks of river Ganges on Tuesday to take a dip on the auspicious occasion of Prabodhini Ekadashi. The day dedicated to Hindu god Vishnu is believed to be the occasion of his waking up after sleeping for days. The occasion is also marked by offering prayers to the tulsi or basil plant. People on the occasion, apart from taking dip in the holy river, performed different rituals while offering prayers to Vishnu and tulsi.
मान्यता यह है कि भगवान विष्णु जी आज जगे हैं इतने दिन के बाद, उनके लिए आज का व्रत रहता है और उनके लिए ही आज का पूजा होता है, उन्हीं के लिए आज का पाठ होता है, सब कुछ उन्हीं के लिए होता है। आज से सारे अच्छे काम शुरू हो जाते हैं, मांगलिक काम शुरू हो जाते हैं, सब चीज शुरू हो जाता है।
Meanwhile, people in India's northern Allahabad city marked the occasion by performing a ritual of Tulsi Vivah, or the wedding ceremony of Hindu goddess Tulsi and Vishnu. The ritual marriage of the Tulsi plant is performed with Vishnu in the form of the holy black-coloured stone Shaligram. According to Hindu mythology, Shaligram is regarded as the husband of Tulsi.
A new bell of a 121-year-old Catholic church in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province is ringing in the spirit of harmony these days. The new bell of the church was tolled again after the previous one went silent half a century ago.
A new bell of a 121-year-old Catholic church in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province was tolled recently after the previous one went silent half a century ago. The British-era church, built in 1896, had lost its original bell in a fire sparked by an arson incident in 1967. Members of the Christian community in Srinagar city with representatives of other faiths, including Muslims, Hindus and Sikhs, celebrated a reactivation and jointly rang the new bell for the first time.
What we want to convey is the pluralistic tradition of the state, where everyone lives in peace and harmony, and we would like to make a small contribution to that.
ये बहुत अच्छा लगा। ये तो कश्मीर की परंपरा रही है। हर एक मजहब के लोग जब जमा हो जाते हैं तो एक दूसरे को मुबारकबादी दे देते हैं, तो ये परंपरा रही है कश्मीर की एकता की, तो इंशाअल्लाह ताला अच्छा ही रहा।
Indian Kashmir is a Muslim majority province with a tiny Christian community mainly in Srinagar. Such joyous moments of one community, which was also celebrated by other faiths in the province, has marked the proof of Kashmir's rich composite culture and harmonious coexistence.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Foreign ministers of India and Singapore hold a joint ministerial meeting in New Delhi. Afghan CEO says foreign troops will stay unless security improves in the country. And royal family of Bhutan arrives on a 4-day visit to India. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. Well, that's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.